have a full day of great interviews coming up. And first, I'm here with Atiya O'Steen. Atiya, thank you so much for being here, Atiya.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So, you're a model. Tell us about how you got into modeling.
So how I got into modeling was pretty much, I started when I was little. I knew I always wanted to be a model. One, my mom, she was a model back then, so it was like, it was different. But when I was little, I loved, fashion. I loved dressing up, look in front of a camera. Like, you will always see me in front of a camera. So I pretty much just knew, and I love clothes. Like, I love to express myself.
Now, you have a unique approach to modeling.
Yes.
So, could you tell us about your modeling and the projects that you're making?
Okay, so I do have a unique approach. When I model, I think of more like a centric look. I don't want to have, like, more of storytelling. Like, I wanted to portray a story. Like, I want to get the people to know, like, oh, what is she saying, or what is she doing? How does this make me feel? Recently, I had a recent concept. It was called disorder. So basically, I was supposed to be sleep. I was supposed to be dreaming, sleeping, and I'm doing all this stuff while sleeping, and I don't know. And I kind of want to, the reason why I say it's disorder is like, where do we go when we sleep? Like, sleep paralysis. I kind of want to get that message out there to someone who may, understand and relate to it. So basically, storytelling.
What inspired this project?
Honestly, what inspired it was, I was driving one day, and disorder came in my mind. And I was like, disorder. And I kind of thought of, like, Billie Eilish, Ilo Milo. Think of her, how she's dressed, and she's like in this cage. I guess she's trying to find like her lover. So I kind of twisted up to me dreaming in a bed, sleeping. And I had this like rope, like I can't, get out of this rope. I'm too tangled up. So it was more of like a centric look. So yeah, it was amazing. I loved it. I showed myself out more. Like, I was eccentric. Like, I was crazy. So yeah, disorder.
So you very much view modeling as an art and a way to express yourself creatively.
Yes.
So tell us about the process of creating this project.
Honestly, it was pretty tough, because I like to have my own twist to it. I don't like to like be the same. I like to be different. So the creative process was, getting the styling, the makeup, how do I want my hair, and how do I want the makeup artist to portray me as. It was kind of hard because not everybody, understands your vision like you understand your vision. So it took some time. Well, honestly, I've been a creative since I was young, so I kind of got it like that. But I like to twist stuff around. I think that's like the most hard part, because you don't want to be like everybody else. I think that's what makes the creative process like, hard. Like, man, it has to be like this. It can't be like this. Like different.
Is there anyone who you've collaborated who has helped you develop your vision?
Yes, I collaborated with a photographer. His name is William, but I say Will, but it was more, he was the photographer, and he kind of did portraits like that, like expression portraits. So it kind of worked out. So yeah, I collaborated with him. I told him, hey, I have this shoot that I want to do. It's called Disorder. And I told him, think of Ilo Milo by Billie Eilish. And then he got it. He got the lightning of how, he wants me to be, how I should, portray myself in the camera. So it was a really much collab, because sometimes it's kind of hard when, when you meet photographers and they don't understand the vision, because, sometimes they're more of like, oh, I do this type of photography compared to, what they usually are comfortable with doing.
Now, I know you said that your mother was in modeling. Now you're modeling, but because you had that kind of inside look at it from her. So how has modeling changed since her era and now yours?
in her era, modeling was more of like they focused on a different type of look, different type of size. You had to be like fully natural, fully skinny, and like had this like European look. But now they're accepting like more modeling. Like now they're accepting more people, like more big size, more little size, medium size. You can be whatever size as long as you know how to work the camera, know the angles, you're a model. You don't have to be a specific size. And I feel like that changed a lot because it was different back then. Like, back then they wouldn't accept no big models or like a certain weight you had to be. Now they accept you. So I feel like it was more different.
So then, how have you developed your camera presence? Because I know a model does need to be very aware of the camera. They need to be aware of like how do they look in the lighting.
Yes.
So how have you developed that?
Well, I developed by learning tips, taking pictures, knowing my good angles and bad angles. I was in a modeling agency before. It was back in 2022, I believe. And we ended up doing, it was a modeling agency, and they ended up helping out like my angles, how I need to be, in front of a camera, how I should act or how I should smile. But I do want to say, I did this one shoot, and it was like more of a centric type of shoot, and that's when I knew, like, since it was like a centric, that's how I knew, like, oh, I know what type of model I want to do. I know what type of angles I want to do. I know how I look, So it's more of agency, and then me kind of practicing on my own, looking in the camera, like how I look. Do I look this? Like, like playing around. So you go as you learn and as you develop the skills, you kind of get it down packed.
Are there any other models or photographers that have influenced your approach to modeling?
It could be any model.
Any.
I love a dude. She's an African model, but her name is Aduch. She's black, and also Naomi Campbell. She's so fierce. I feel like I relate so much to her because when she's model, she's just like, she knows she has that presence, that aura. I feel like she inspires me a lot, Naomi Campbell.
So, how would you describe your unique sense of style?
When I style, I try to be extra. I know right now this is like basic, but when I, sometimes I like to have scarves around my head, or sometimes like around my neck, or sometimes even wearing as a belt. I love scarves. I connect so much to scarves. A lot of different type of jewelry. Even with the hair, I love big hair. Like, I feel like that just brings me out more. And, I like different type of styling, like stacked clothing on top of clothing. It doesn't have to, I just don't like a simple style. It has to be crazy, Like, I want people, when they see me in a room, they're like, oh my gosh, that style, like, it's so crazy.
Well, what does modeling mean to you?
Modeling means a lot to me. When you model, I tell a story, it's art, the expression. Like, when people come to my modeling page, I want them to see, like, oh my gosh, I feel this girl through the camera. Even with my expressions, like, storytelling, I want the people to know the story that I'm trying to portray, how they would see it. And, because people look at a picture and they could look at it in a different meaning, not compared to your meaning, but at least they kind of get, what you're trying to say, So I pretty much look at it as art. Modeling is art. It's not just beauty, being beautiful. Like, no, you could be crazy, you could be unique. You don't just have to be, no. Like, you could be wild with modeling. Like, editorial is where I feel most present.
I think a lot of people have concept of models, like you said, like they have to be look perfect.
Yes.
They're displaying whatever they're wearing. They're the thing wearing the art. But for you, the model is very much the art.
The
Right.
art, yes. It's even in when the clothing too. Like I recently had this shoot where I was supposed to be back in time. It was a birthday shoot. And I had all these purses on me. I had these stacked clothing. And then the photographer that I had, he had this specific item that just fit the concept. And I was just, it was crazy and wild. And I was just me, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
it was art.
Mm-hmm. So how do you want to change the perspective that people have
Yes.
on modeling and like what their idea of art is, right?
Yes, I definitely do. I want to know, let other models out there know that, you know, it doesn't have to be just beauty, you know,
Mm-hmm.
try to go beyond your niche. You know, you may like it, you know, it's not, you know, it's good to have like beauty, a couple beauty shots, but be open to going out, you know, of what you usually do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I try to do. I try to go out to what I usually can do. So,
Are there any projects that you really want to do in the future?
I honestly, I want to do, good question. I want to do, I kind of want to do another editorial look, but I don't have it like planned now, but I kind of have like a vision. It's kind of like a character vision of like Medusa.
Hmm.
So, but I want to change it up around. Like, I don't want to exactly have Medusa, but I want to kind of get creative, like with the face mask and just clothing. Like, I have a couple of creative ones that I wanna do.
Mm-hmm. And saying you have an upcoming shoot. Could you tell us about what we can expect to see from you?
Oh yeah, so it's gonna be in the studio because I love the studio. It's my safe place. It's gonna be more of like a fashion shoot, but I'm gonna be styling myself in different clothing. It's not gonna be a specific type of clothing. So I'm gonna kind of wear like a long sleeve with stacked like blazers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be different clothing is what it's gonna be. It's not gonna be just plain, you know, pants and jeans. It's like a studio shoot. But this is not really like a concept that I'm gonna create. I probably will. I probably will change my mind, but it's more of like I want to just put it in my book, you know, for
Mm-hmm.
future reference. Like, oh, okay, she can do that.
Mm-hmm. And on top of this very creative modeling, you also do runway modeling.
Yes, I do runway. I don't really like runway if I'm being honest, but I try to put myself out there with runway because that's where, you know, that's where you can get booked more. You know, people see you more. People see, oh, she walks, you know, walks like this more. I've been doing runway. Well, I started doing runway like back in 2025, I believe. I started to get a little runway in. Well, I started actually practicing my runway because I knew I had it, but I just needed to put that like that fierce in my walk. You know, I look too stiff. So yes, I do runway.
Do you approach it differently when you're runway modeling versus your own work?
It's different. Runway model, I feel like is more of a like a Naomi Campbell type of runway. Because you know how she comes in, she's like more attitude-ish, you know, she's like, this is my show, you know. I look at it like that. But again, like I don't really do it, so it's like it's not, I just practice more with runway, so yeah. It's not really like my thing, like, oh, I'm a runway, like, no. I try to stick more in modeling, but I am open to, you know, bring that runway out in me. But
so what have you learned throughout your journey as a model?
I learned a lot. Like I learned to, you know, be patient with yourself, you know. It does take time. Be you, market yourself, do what you can do, you know. You don't have to be perfect, you know. At least not everybody's gonna like, you know, your modeling. Not everybody's gonna like your modeling style. So I just pretty much learn, how to just be that girl, be the best that I can be. Because pretty soon, someone's gonna look at me and be like, I want her. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I learned a lot. Just be patient. Create what you can create. Whatever idea that you have, create it as a model. Portray it as a model. Tell the people what you want them to know.
Well, thank you so much for coming here on the show and sharing your journey. Where can our viewers find out more about you?
You can find me on Instagram at Atiya. It's spelled UHTIYEUHHH_. I hope I didn't butcher that, but you can find me. Just put Atiya, and it will come up.
And do you have any words of advice for models who want to branch out and try something different?
I would say go for it. Be yourself. Put yourself out there. Who cares? They're gonna talk. Still do it. Still come as your best self and knock out the noise. I don't know. Do it. You're gonna love it when you do it. Because trust me, I was like that. Like, I didn't want the people to portray me as this, but I'm like, I know who I am, so I'm gonna do it.
Well, thank you, viewers, so much for watching, and stay tuned because we have a lot more interviews coming up.
Thank you so much.
Bye.